Hello, and welcome to Greet the Week. I am Mona Duncan, and the purpose of our little get together on Mondays is to live in the now, realizing that this is the only moment we have at our disposal, and also being open to receive everything that comes our way without attaching to it, and seeing how that everything in the long run is for our benefit. And today we're going to be talking about committing to commitment. Do you ever make commitments and then afterwards you think, I don't know, maybe I should not have committed to that. And it's okay to go back and to make some corrections. I'm going to share here and put the screen on full screen. So learning to commit to commitments. That often we have wonderful intentions and we have renewed hope that we're going to really accomplish something. And then time passes and we'll still have a lot to do that rather than has been accomplished. And how we can sometimes lie to ourselves and think that what we're doing is productive. So sometimes we have a bad case of the overs. I like to look at them to remember our 20-80 principle of Pareto, the guy who looked at the economics and realized that 80% of the property, 80% of the economy was administered by and overrun by 20% of the population. And that has become a good way of looking at making things effective all the way around. And so we're looking at, I think sometimes myself personally, as well as us as a humanity, have a bad case of the overs, that we make more commitments than we can keep. We overschedule, we overcommit, we overindulge, we overeat, we overreach, we overspend, just a lot of those overs. And that as we can begin to realize that 20% of our activity in the long run really does produce 80% of our intended results. And so doing those most important things, the ones that are right here, right now, the most important, can take us further and advance us farther, advance us faster. As we can identify our 20% of the most important things and doggedly stay with those most of the time. Now, what that 20% does is it transforms us. It turns ideas into reality. It turns time into money or products. It turns acquaintances into relationships. It turns stress into energy and inefficiency into being effective. And sometimes it means to put ourselves on pause and to just think about, because it's always remembering that thoughts manifest, that whatever we're thinking about, and if we're thinking about the clutter, then the clutter has a tendency to take over until we begin to look at what is really important. So to not be seduced by distractions. I know I'm guilty. I'll do just one or two of those little itty bitty things and get them done and get them out of the way. The thing of it is that so often we can get involved in devoting our full energy into those little things that we don't use our full energy to the most important things. Those little thing grows to encompass 80% of the time, leaving us with less accomplishment, being unfulfilled, and needing a longer list of those tasks for tomorrow. So Michael Beckwith has put forth a challenge in a few of the talks that he gives to realize I am happiest and most fulfilled when I am being, as opposed to when I am doing. And sometimes we have to go back to that, really thinking through as to what is a being thought that brings the most happiness and fulfillment, as opposed to a doing thought. And they can be put together. They can be co-partners, but it is looking that at the end of this, am I going to be happiest and fulfilled? And so sometimes we think, if we name it, we can claim it. But if we recognize our distractions for what they really are, is many times we're self-sabotaging ourselves. And we don't want to name and claim self-sabotage. So it is looking at spending time, resources, and all of our energy on things that are absolutely the most important. The things that do not distract us, the things that do not disrupt us, that things that are so important for today's success. And then to practice procrastination, or the practice of that. I said, well, that sounds crazy. And I like to look at things like a two-sided coin, that this is what it is, but this is what it's not. Only sometimes we kind of blend them together. Webster's dictionary defines procrastination as the intentional putting off of something that should be done. So as we begin to look at how are we so busy doing this, that in the back of our mind, we know what is really the most important thing to be doing, to be focusing on, to be accomplishing. And so that maybe that procrastination is a ruse that we are using because we're trying to be too perfect all the time. And so, we'll lie to ourselves and say, well, if I can't do it perfectly, then I won't do it. It may not be a conscious thought we have, but it may be one of those things that's holding us back. So as we begin to dissect the reasons we procrastinate, even though we may be busy in the process of putting off the most important. And so it leads us into challenging our excuses, to step out of our comfort zone and to just do it, and to learn something in the process, and to know that the next time, because life is pretty faithful to always give us next times, that we can begin to accomplish those dreaded things and the ones that we put off without really thinking about it, and become more proficient. That we trust ourselves to learn, to grow, to produce, and to be being who we really are. And so, as I think about all these things, to me, the secret of concentration is elimination. Multitasking is very deceptive. I think, well, I can do this and this and this and this. And what it really does is it eliminates our thinking ability. It distracts, it waters down the effort that's putting into the task. Trying to do too many things at once is an enemy of focused attention, and it leads to oversights and it leads to mistakes. In a misguided attempt to get the small stuff out of the way, our mind's primary thinking is consumed with the dread of a major project. If we're doing all these little things to distract us because we're seduced by distractions and we're practicing procrastination, then what is happening is we're really putting off a major dread of something we just don't want to jump into, something we don't want to do. And so out of sight, out of mind. Well, sometimes if we'll just take all those little 80% things and put them in the closet, or just somehow close our mind to them, eliminate it from our field of vision. Because those things that we put off, those things that we procrastinate doing, they have a tendency to wait for us. And so if we focus on our top priority and we prune our schedule in and we hone in on our performance. So here's the challenge. Don't cope, overcome. Don't cope, which is stressing, but we want to overcome, which is energizing. A commitment is a binding vow, and to commit to it is to obligate ourselves and to hand ourselves over to doing what we have given our word for. But fear is a powerful yet a subtle motivator. Sometimes we don't do those things that we know we can do, or maybe we need to learn to do, but we don't do it because fear is holding us unmotivated. Psychologists tell us that we have only two genuine emotions. And as we've looked at extreme, we're right on the verge of extreme. Those two emotions are fear and love. Fear and love. And that everything else is an outcropping, energy-wise, or a watering down expression of even being afraid to do something, or even loving to do something, or wanting to do something. And sometimes we can get those two emotions mixed up. That we say we love something and that we really have a yearning for it, but it's more of a fear than it is the yearning. Could an underlying motivation of that 80% really be a fear of success? Why do we keep putting those things off and putting them off and putting them off? Why do they keep looming at us? Is it really a fear of success? Is it really a fear of, well, if I get it right, then they'll expect me to do it again? And could the passion for the 20% be a genuine love of what your internal mission is, of what you were put on planet Earth to accomplish? Could it be that passion that we're afraid to embrace, that there's a fear of? Well, spending time in our thoughtful meditation to determine what we trust and to determine the things that we've made a pledge to or a promise to. And settling these issues help you to move light years into achieving goals. So hopefully there was something here that was a little helpful, or at least caused some thought to really think about. And would love to hear from you. I thank you for being here, and we'll go ahead and stop the recording and wish all of you many blessings.